Well, good evening, students. Good evening, students. I hope I find you very well today and you are busy working very hard. I'm seeing it. The handle, the YouTube handle is very, very hot. I'm happy that you are working very hard, and that's what I also like. Uh, a promise is a credit. I promised. I promised. Although it is difficult, I'm tired. I've been very busy, but I have to honor my promise. Hopefully, my tip was useful on question one and two. I'm coming back again to try and assist a little bit on question two. But question two is not very difficult. A lot on that question. It's about what must be subtracted. Any expenditure or loss, simply subtract. But don't just subtract. Most of them, it's all about understanding specific deductions. It's about understanding the specific deductions. But anyway, I would like to thank you for the feedbacks. I would like to thank you for subscribing. There is a significant increase. Yesterday I was on 20 something subscribers, and today I'm sure by the end of the day I might be close to 50. I'm now on 39. Please encourage your friends to follow my channel. I try to give my best. I try to give my best. Always, I want my students to pass. More importantly, you are all very active. I like that, the way you work very hard. I will try to give some tips, but people understand it differently. Some are fast learners. Some are not very, very busy, of which they can apply during the day until they understand. But most of the people are working. So if you find it challenging, please come and attend my classes. Come and attend my classes. I hold a class once every week. Come to my inbox, and then I will add you into my classes. I give a class once every week, and we do those questions again and again and again, of which I won't be able to post most of them on YouTube. I will only maybe post one now and then, but in reality, we need to be doing more questions for us to be able to understand. If you have got challenges, don't wait. Don't wait. You might have failed this. You might fail this test because you didn't know that I'm there. But now that you know I'm here, don't fail again the second semester, the second assignment, which carries a lot of marks. The second assignment is coming, and possibly there will be a lot of capital allowances, a lot of recoupments to be calculated. There will be CGT, and then later on we are going to have the final examination. So don't fail. It's still time to attend my class. The fee is very, very affordable. Well, Let me run, and once again, encourage your friends from all the universities. Taxation is simply taxation. Encourage them to follow me and to subscribe so that I've got numbers as well. Here we go. Our question, straight to our question. So the question like us to calculate first of all, would like us to calculate taxable income. Would like us to calculate taxable income up to question number 28. It's all taxable income. I mean, up to it's 28 marks. Sorry, it's taxable income. Let me refer you again to my framework, which I like to use. So if they say calculate taxable income, You start from your gross income, although you are not going to be really follow this framework. You follow according to the statement of comprehensive income you are seeing. You go to a note as you answer. But when an amount is gross income, you don't put in brackets, you simply add it. The gross income, and then if there is amount in gross income which is exempted, simply subtract what is exempt. The good thing with your module, anything which is exempted must be subtracted. But first you have to include it. I'm seeing on your question there are some dividends. Our lectures want us to first include the full amount of dividends and then later on subtract them as exempted income. Remember, exempted income is just like grace, like Mohau, like Musa, like you were about to go to hell and you are forgiven. So as taxpayers, we don't want to pay tax. Yes, dividends would be included because they are gross income, but later on you would subtract them. Don't forget to include the full amount of dividends and then subtract. Well, after subtracting your gross income, your exempted income from gross income, your answer would be income. It is from this income where you would subtract a lot on this question. Is on deductions. Yesterday we spoke about general deductions, and I said you apply general deductions if an expenditure is not a specific deduction. Well, I do have my notes on specific deductions. I like my notes, those who are going to be part of my class. Once you join and you pay a little bit, you pay as we go. I want to demand the full amount at once. You pay as you go. And I'll give you the notes and I'll give you classes, we'll answer a number of questions. And I'll also give you some past papers which I have with the solutions for you to be able to practice. So here are the specific deductions which you must know for you to pass this module. You need to know a expenditure relating to trading stock. From there, you need to know expenditure relating to employment. For example, salaries. Salaries are subtracted in full. And the contributions to funds as well, you simply subtract them in full. You don't wait. Annuities in respect to former employees, these ones are only subtracted if the former employee receiving that annuity left work because of health reasons or because they were old, or if that annuity was paid to a former employee, to the dependents of a former employee who is deceased. I'm also seeing there's a restraint of trade payment. A restraint of trade payment, a company which pays a restraint of trade payment is entitled to a deduction. A deduction must not exceed the lower amount between that amount divided by what? By 3, or that amount divided by what? By the number of years of restrainment. Bad debts, you simply subtract bad debts, but I'm also seeing that there's a doubtful debt allowance, which is subjected to some deductions. I'll quickly go there. Legal expenses, research and development expenditure, I did not see them there, but these are some of the specific deductions clearly stated in the Income Tax Act that they must be subtracted when one is calculating tax liability. There is also relating to patents, trademarks, and copyrights. You were lucky you don't have them. So you don't have to worry about this part. There is also prepaid expenditure. there's also prepaid expenditure. I'm seeing it there. Remember, our general deduction formula says you deduct expenditures incurred during the year. But with prepaid expenses, remember, you are paying now, but expenses you are paying now, but you are going to, let me say, you are paying now, but the expense is for the following year. For example, rental and insurance premiums. You can pay the rental for the whole year now. So the challenge would come, let's say the company's year of assessment ends in March, but you decide to pay rent from January to December. It means the rental from January to March would be applying for the year. You subtract, then the rental you paid in advance from the month of April to December, it's a prepaid expense. So the act says, in respect of that prepaid expense, it can be allowed as a deduction in the year ending March if that prepaid amount does not exceed 100,000 rand, or if it exceeds 100,000 rand, that prepaid expense should relate to a period which is within 6 months after year end. It means if that prepaid amount is more than 100,000 and it's paid for months from April to December, then you won't allow it as a deduction. It won't be allowed as a deduction. Another deduction which I'm seeing there is donations to public benefit organizations. Donations to public benefit organization. Remember, this is an expenditure which is deducted at the end of the question, and the deduction is limited to 10% of the taxable income. So before you can subtract a donation deduction, you must get a subtotal. You must get a subtotal. Let me see this one, like this question of mine, which I'm going to use. Before subtracting the donation deduction, the taxpayer subtracted everything that was there to be subtracted. And then later on, they get the subtotal. And then they would go on and try to take into account the donation. Remember, the donation deduction, you take what was donated, and then it must be limited to 10% of the taxable income. Remember, my taxable income, which I'm talking about, is here. 10% of it. Then you compare the donation and the 10% of the taxable income, of which the lower amount, which is the donation, because my donation here was 25,000, that's what must be subtracted to get the taxable income. I'm also seeing with that question, it's more the same like this. The taxpayer is a small business corporation. You take your taxable income you would have gotten, you go with it to the tax table of small business corporation and see which tax bracket does it fall under. I do have my PKF table. Let me go to the small business corporations tables. I'm sure maybe I might have passed them. Here is the small business corporation. You see, if the amount is huge, my taxable income here is above this amount. So meaning tax liability would be your taxable income minus 550,000 rand, and then you multiply by 27%, and then later on you add this taxable income. If it is a small business corporation, which I saw on my question, if I'm not mistaken, it might be a small business corporation. So let me quickly go to the question and try to be as close as I can. Maybe I will be useful. Do something and do well. If you are struggling, please come to my class. Come to my class. I'm always open. I want students to pass. I don't see students why students should struggle with it with this module. Here is our question. Let's go bit by bit. Remember, let's compare to my solutions. Cells are simply cells. And the amount include 1,520,000 credit sales. But remember, according to the gross income definition says you don't. You said what must be included is total amount in cash received by or accruing to in favor of the taxpayer during the year of assessment. Yeah, this is my gross income definition. Total amount in cash or otherwise received by or accruing to the taxpayer during the year of assessment and not of capital nature. So meaning as long as there was an entitlement, if the amount was accruing to, that amount would be included in a gross income. So that credit sale must still be included in gross income. Yes, I know it was bad because okay, this one was not yet received. So it means it must be still be included. The reason would be not the amount is accruing to the taxpayer. That is the reason why you are not adjusting, and that is it. That's what you go about around it. And then local dividends, remember I told you, local dividends are exempted, but it's grace. First of all, you include and later on exempt. Bad debts recovered. Remember, bad debts must be subtracted. So if the bad debt is recovered, what would happen? It must be added back. Provision of doubtful debts. Well, it depends on the company. If it is, let's quickly go to the note. The company is applying IFRS 9 for financial reporting purposes. So if the company is applying IFRS 9, the allowance will simply be 40% of impairment related to credit loss. But remember again, with the doubtful debts allowance, it's a temporary relief. As a temporary relief, the allowance for the previous year must be added first. The allowance was then allowance for previous year. Yes, it must be added. And then later on, you subtract the allowance for what? For the current year, which would be based on 25%. So with the trading stock, you need to know how you treat trading stock. You need to know how you treat trading stock. There are three components of trading stock. Let's look at the three components of trading stock. Purchases, opening stock, as well as closing stock. With the purchases, you simply subtract. You don't play. You simply subtract. Opening stock, yes, opening stock is subtracted as well. But where you are given the cost and the market value, just compare which one is lesser than the other, the market value and the cost. That's what you subtract. But I'm only seeing one value of opening stock, meaning the lecture made it easier for you. Yeah, simply take it and run. Just know opening stock must be subtracted. A closing stock has to be added when you do the calculation. closing stock had to be added when you do the calculation. Again, you check which one is the lesser than the other, the market value or the cost. Then you add. That's how you treat your what? Your trading stock. Insurance premiums, that's where we were talking about prepaid expense. First of all, look at the premiums which fall within the year. Remember, the year ending of this company is 31 March. Let's say the financial year ends in February. So it means premiums which apply for the year, which we don't have doubt about in terms of deduction, are the premiums for January 2026 and February 24 for February 2026, meaning the prepaid portion from March to December doesn't fall within the year of assessment. That would be a prepaid expense. You have to calculate that portion if that amount exceeds 100,000. If it exceeds 100,000, then you know you are not going to subtract it during the year. You are not going to subtract it during the year. And I'm sure it exceeds 100,000. I'm sure you don't, because if it exceeds 100,000, you are not going to subtract it because when you look at the 6 months part, remember you can allow it as a deduction if it relates to a period which is within 6 months after year end. But if you look, the period from March to December is more than 6 months, then it would mean that the prepaid expense won't qualify as a deduction. So yeah, basically we are almost there. Let me run. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I had a very long day. Salaries, contributions to employee benefit funds. My notes on employee-related expenses. We say the salaries fully deduct, contributions to funds. You fully deduct, and then let's look at annuity. Just look at who is the recipient. Remember, I said if it was paid to a dependent of a former employee who is deceased, then you can allow it as a deduction. Or if it was paid to someone who retired because of health reasons or old age. But looking at this person, she was a cleaning lady who quit. She did not leave work because of age or health reasons, meaning the company would be unlucky here. The commission of SARS won't give them a deduction. Okay, let's go to the past portion. This portion, anything. Remember, we said these are not prepaid. These are not specific deductions. I'm seeing tax penalties. I'm seeing tax penalties. I'm also seeing provisional tax payment for 2025, which was only made in March. No deduction is allowed on taxes. No deduction is allowed on taxes. That's what I know. There's no deduction on taxes. Whatever you might try to do. Remember the section 23 prohibits the deduction of tax penalties and interests. Lucky enough, I'm seeing donation. The donation deduction, which we said is the final deduction which must be made. But remember the rule with the donation. If the donation for this year exceed the limit, it would mean that the difference between the limit, that excess must be carried forward in the following year. and it would be treated as a donation for the following year. With this one, you would simply add so that you are able to get a total donation for the year, which must not exceed 10% of your taxable income. Let me look at my solutions. Let's look at my solutions, how I was answering it. I'm seeing the lecture said, put a column, the description and the note this side. Yeah, basically this is the framework that you would use, and hopefully you got I tried to help, but attend my classes. I found you very soon. Otherwise, I was not going to be doing this. It's not that right, but students requested. I know the time is short. The lecture also wants you to pass, but that is how you must approach. Those who has got ears, let them hear. Go and massacre this question and do very well. Remember, it's portion two, part A will only require you to calculate taxable income. So if they require you to calculate taxable income, you simply go up to the taxable income here, and then that would be fine now. Then B would like say assume this was the taxable income. Calculate the normal tax payable, meaning where our taxable income will be 1.7. Then that's what you go with to the table. Remember my framework. After if it is a small business corporation, you use the tax tables. After you get your normal tax, just look upon the notes. And if there was the first provisional tax and second provisional tax, which were paid for 2026, those two amounts must be subtracted to get either a tax liability or a tax refund. If the prepaid amounts, the provisional taxes, are more than the normal tax, then it's a refund. But if the normal tax is more than the two refunds, then it's a tax liability. Our taxpayer must pay all SARS, must pay SARS. They owe SARS money. I'm sure that is it. Follow my page, encourage friends to like. Please come to my classes if you are struggling, because it's going to be very, very difficult. If you attend one class every week, I give you many of those past papers and my notes, then you are going to do very, very well. Thanks so much and a good night. I'm tired. You can see I'm very, very tired. Have a nice week and work very hard. I hear that the assignment is due maybe on Wednesday. Just take your time, go to your textbook, apply it, try it and grasp my little bit of my tips. Work very hard and pass this, and then we'll meet again maybe when towards the second assignment, if it is coming. Once again, trying to give some bit of class which might be useful, but that one class once here and there towards the test or exam won't be useful. I might arrange some revision class towards the examination where I'll invite you to be part of the class, and we'll be asking some questions, and we'll give full discussions and full explanations. Thanks so much and good night.